As Nicole Dobo has revealed in her articles and videos, the truth has been stretched and distorted. This is further seen in Mr. Lewis's online pension hearing transcript. Members of the board, please consider making an immediate change. You are not alone. There are a lot of people and groups that are available to help. Making a change may seem scary right now, but it can and must be done.
Thank you. Ms. Scheinberg, you're going to be next?
Sure. My name is Elizabeth Scheinberg, speaking as a taxpayer today. Ladies and gentlemen, though many of you are new to school boarding, you will not have the customary courtesy of the learning curve afforded to most new board members. Our school is suffering, and the longer this board takes to act, the more damage that is incurred upon our children and taxpayers. I'm not here to rehash the news journal coverage of our school. I seek only to get to the heart of the problems we are facing. Pencader is bereft of skilled leadership, the absence of which has led to declining enrollment, scandalous invalidated accusations, and tremendous distrust and fear of retaliation felt by members of the community and family. I, along with many others, committed faith and trust in this board and this school leadership last July 12th during our impassioned plea to the Secretary of Education to keep Pencader open. We celebrated the Secretary's recommendation and committed ourselves to rebuilding our school. I have to admit, I think we failed. We failed to ensure that we set the example of hard work, dedication, commitment, and honesty for our students. Yes, we are in compliance with our DOE imposed conditions, but we are no more stable than we were a year ago. There are so many people in this room who have put our children first. And despite the media storm that has clutched our school, we worked together to support our students through a roller coaster of the year. We couldn't always protect them, but we tried to support them. And while our dedicated classroom educators did without, and many went deep into their own pockets to ensure their classrooms had the necessary resources, our leaders were more concerned with themselves, with playing personnel games, finance games, and propaganda campaigns. And those deceitful tactics are continuing to be perpetrated on the taxpayers and the community today. Actions that only serve to erode the public trust in us. Whether you believe that the news journal is yellow or not, the transcripts of the pension hearings speak for themselves, and they give great pause to those who must calculate the future of our school. Ladies and gentlemen, you have an obligation. This is your show. You can continue to support our school leader, the same one who, in the wake of the latest scandal, rewarded 2 participants in the pension controversy with employment here at Pencader, or accept the responsibility of dismantling the culture of deceit and fear and rebuilding this school around children in a transparent, honest manner that is responsive to all parties of inquiry, especially your parents and taxpayers. The choice is yours. I wish you great luck. This microscope is on you.
Mrs. Minahan?
I'm Harry Ellen Minahan, former president of the board here at Pencader. I resigned June 1st from that position. One of the lasting visual memories of Sunday morning's news program was seeing the workmen in their hard hats taking down and removing the wrapped statue of Joe Paterno from the Penn State campus. You don't have to be a Penn State graduate or even an avid Nittany fan to know what Paterno meant to that school. He symbolized winning. He symbolized one of the richest football programs in the nation. But in the end, he symbolized personal failure, a failure to communicate, a failure of hubris over integrity, a failure to be able to use his leadership skills to say no. I am sure that at heart, he was a good man, probably a good man who became too consumed with winning at the expense of all else. History is replete with stories of leaders who cannot put controls on their power. Pencader Charter School is a far cry from Penn State University in every dimension. It even describes itself as the little school down by the river. Penn State has been around for ages. Pencader just finished its 6th year. Just about everybody anywhere in this region and probably all across the country has heard of Penn State, and for more reasons than football, because because of a solid academic reputation. Last year, we worried that not many people in this region, right in our own area, had heard of Pencader Charter School. I would venture to say that's not true now. Like Penn State, you might not be able to find Happy Valley without a map. So too, you might not be able to find Pencader on Lucan's Drive without a map or a GPS. But believe me, people now know this school is here. They know it's here because of a failure of leadership that has made this school front page news twice this summer. I would advance the argument that the failures parallel those of Joe Paterno. A failure of hubris over integrity, first of all, and secondly, a failure of leadership to say no and to communicate information. I'm not going to walk you through the stories again. You've heard them. You know about the PhD that isn't. You know about the pension schemes that are. You know that you cannot build the kind of school that Pencader should and can be on that kind of foundation. To this board I say, new and inexperienced as you are faced with what will undoubtedly be the greatest challenge of your entire board tenure. You must fix the situation. The fix has to be believed and trusted in to work in order for Pencader to be believed and trusted in by all stakeholders. And by that I mean the community of taxpayers, the Department of Education, the faculty, the staff, and the parents of this school. The fix has to be swift, dramatic, and as real as the removal of that statue of Joe Paterno was at Penn State. You must show that Pencader means business. No cover-up fix, do it right. The citizens of Newcastle County are waiting and watching to see what you do. Thank you.
Ms. Gould? Hello, my name is Patricia Gould. As a parent of a student that was ninth grader, fall 2010, fall 2011, she was a 10th grader. She came to this school with high expectations for academic achievement. She had already been in the TAG program at Red Clay, and she had won the Johns Hopkins High Honors Award, and she had a bright future. Due to the general climate of the school, she did not keep her academic standing as high as what I expected. I expected her math and her science to be stronger. She gave me a lot of information about what was going on in the classes and teachers being disrespected, and I came to the school and I had mentioned it to the administrator, but according to my daughter, there was really nothing that happened. The students were like kind of just on their own, I think, in the last 6 months of the school year. So what I would like to see is a change in the leadership, because right now we're enrolling our child in Christiana High School and Christina School District, because we don't believe that her academics have been addressed here at this school, because she should be a top student, and instead she's getting like a 2.9 grade point average. That's not acceptable. No D's, no C's are acceptable to me. So I would just like to see a change in the leadership immediately, so that maybe there's a possibility that she will come back to this school, but right now, not the way that the school is being run. So my whole thing is I like to see a change in leadership.
I would like to speak. I'm Abraham Jones. I'm calling myself the vice president of the board because that's what's on paper. But this week I had the most horrendous experience with Pencader in my entire educational career. I have a godson here, and I can't even fathom to begin to tell you my experience of disrespect that not only my godson and I received the entire week. I've sent over 100 emails to the two teachers that violated the section 504 refused him the appropriate accommodations, modifications, and adaptations. With a 5 or 6 week program, one teacher left one entire week. Someone else came in uncertified in special education. And I was told that coverage was made. My godsons had 4 or 5 packets of 30-page Algebra 1 math problems that Ann told me he was supposed to have already passed, but I agreed to let him take summer school just to go along with the program. And I don't know whether he passed or not. I've emailed the teacher several times about that. I'm also concerned about this football coach that called my son dirty and trash, and that he belonged in the trash, witnessed by Elizabeth down there, the same man who came to my home and told me he had guns in his car and couldn't wait to hold Pencader hostage, staff and students. I'm not taking it lightly. I'm fearful to come all the way back here because I'll never know when I'm going to get out of here. I think it's terrible that I put in request after request since October to have my nephew removed from math class, never heard from Ann. I've sent emails back and forth about a meeting, never heard from Ann. I think it's ridiculous. Yes, he has a situation, but he's still human, and according to David Praz, of the Dean of Loyola University, all children can learn, and I believe that. I think the special education program needs an overhaul. I think you need someone at least in here who's qualified to know what special education is all about. I think it's awfully offensive for somebody with a temporary certification to school me, and I go all over the world to speak on all 13 issues in special education about what I need to do with an ADHD student. I think it's degrading. I think it's humiliating. I think it's totally disrespectful. And the day when my godson asked about his grade, Ann told him to stop. Another girl who asked about the grade, she responded. I don't know what the riff is, but I'm not leaving Pencader because Martin Luther King didn't bleed and die for my son to have to be removed from a school he chooses to be. And I'm not going to continue with the disrespect with my nephew because I'm on this board. I'm following due process as soon as I can get the DOE on Monday. Not only am I following due process, I'm going to file a complaint with ACLU and the OCR about why my godson can be called dirty and needs to be, and it's trash, it needs to be placed in the trash, and I'm yet to hold the meeting in 3 months. I'm very offended, I'm upset, I'm humiliated, and I can't begin to tell you the need of correction here. Now, I don't know what you all want to do about Ann. I don't care. I know the board is stacked with who she needs and wants to keep her. That's not my issue. But somebody needs to step in and do something to save Pencader.
My name is Catherine Cora. I have a son that comes to Pencader, and I've come here several times this summer and spoke to someone, and you were supposed to call me back and never got any response. I came here this last week and wrote a note on the desk because no one was in the school. The office was wide open for anybody to come in the school.
Same when I came.
I left a note on a pad. I am so upset because my son don't deserve this. I don't understand how you can a student can come to school and don't learn nothing. Nobody calls me and tells me my son is doing anything. I heard from one English teacher said she was gonna, if my son turned in one paper, he would be fine. My son turned in the paper. He still failed the class.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? My son is going to be in the 12th grade. Every year he's failing. What are the teachers doing here?
They're not making the rubric agree with what they're doing. I know what they're doing because I read all the rubrics. I'm certified, qualified to do rubrics as I do for Women University, and there's no congruency in the scores and what they want to give the kids. My nephew had an F on his forehead before the summer school even started by both teachers. They told not only board members but others that the boy was gonna fail no matter what. Once he turned in his papers, he still failed.
Yes, and I
He
even
was told
told
he
to
was
Miss
gonna fail
Lewis
if he didn't turn the
personally, I
papers
came up here
in,
with
and
my
he failed
son.
once he turned the papers in. I've asked for validation, I've asked for justification
Exactly.
of how we got to the averages. I'm told to wait until we have time to meet. How long do I have to wait? I started in October waiting. I'm almost at October again, and I'm still waiting.
I don't know what teaching is anymore. If your son
It's
comes to
not
school,
here.
my son is not a problem child. He's a very respectable
I
child.
want the disaggregated data. I want the disaggregated data on the 5 that was kept back their senior year. How are you gonna make it to senior year and brag about all this effectiveness and success and 5 kids are held back? I want the disaggregated data on the 5 that was kept back, and I want the disaggregated data of the children in summer school. And then we can come to some kind of variables as to what's happening, who it's happening to, and why it's happening. Show me the disaggregated data.
And it's sad when you talk to the principal, they gonna tell you, okay, I'll get with your son and let them know that, what he needs to do to get back on top. Never heard nothing, ask my son,
You
your
won't.
mom, nothing. This is ridiculous. Then you read in the paper all this other foolishness, and then Miss Lewis is sitting here rolling her eyes at people that she don't agree with. That's disrespect to me. That's just total disrespect. What kind of, what?
No morals.
What is there to do? I mean, we're sitting here, why is she still here? So disrespectful.
Because you got somebody covering up for it, I got emails to show it.
It's sad. It's so sad that you have to, a parent has to be concerned about this type of situation in a school. You send your kids here to learn, not to have all this stuff in the paper about money and situations where your kid's not learning anything. Obviously, it's all about money. It's not about your child. It's not about the students. It's about how much you can get out of this situation. It's sad.
Did anybody else have another comment?
No, I have a question. Aside from whatever the leadership issues are that we have to discuss today, I need to know how we're gonna reach out to these parents. Are we gonna have the opportunity, or can we have the opportunity to meet with them and go over their students' situations? I think they're 2 separate things. If parents are crying out saying that their students' needs haven't been met, I think that we need to address that as a separate issue. Then whatever leadership business we have to do that. So just wanna see what we can do and how we can do a meeting to listen and hear those parents in their individual cases.
I think we can plan a parent meeting.
So guys, before you leave today, I guess, we'll set up.
They need to be sent out to all parents. Whether their kid is on top or on the bottom, everybody's parent should be at a meeting where they can sit down and talk about their
And I
child's
agree with you
situation.
100%, but I also am a parent of a student who just graduated, and my story isn't your story, but I hear your story. Just because my story is not your story doesn't mean that your story is not validated. And so my interest is that you have a similar experience that I've had with my daughter, and whatever I can do, what we can do to get you there. I want to hear your story. I want to meet your child. I want to know their circumstance, which I just want to make that separate from school business.
I would like to say something. My name's Miranda St. Pierre. My brother used to go to this school earlier this year before he was forcibly out by Ann Lewis. He was the one that videotaped Bob Lewis cussing at India this past year. He was put in protective custody under Mr. Young's protection for being threatened in school by numerous people. And about a couple weeks after he was able to return to school, Ann Lewis fired Mr. Young for protecting my brother. But as of that, also with the grades, Bob Lewis, 2 weeks before this incident happened, he was passing with flying colors in math. Right when the progress report came out, right after the incident happened, of course he was failing the class. Not only that, you know. But luckily, now my brother, under Mr. Young's wing, has been taking summer school. And now, as being a 9th grader this past year, he will become an 11th grader at Dickinson this upcoming year. Also, with Ann Lewis and all the trouble that she has caused here, I believe if you all, the new board members here, do not make a decision to not renew her contract, this school is going to close. I really believe that. I'm 27. My 13-year-old stepdaughter will be in high school in a couple years. You know, in the beginning, you know, last year, we rallied around Pencader to stay open. I would like to bring my, you know, daughter here, you know, but with all the leadership problems and deceit and everything like that, I would not want her to come here after this leadership has done, you know, what they did to the parents, to the teachers, to the students. You know, I'm enraged right now. I'm shaking to the point where, you know, I want to cry or just scream. You know, I hear all this in, you know, blogs and the news journal. If we, you know, keep on having a leadership person like this, nobody is going to want to come to this school. Over in Pennsylvania, just right across the border. What another woman did is putting her in prison and getting arrested for deceiving the charter schools of their tax-paying money and everything like that. And DOE is basically turning, you know, a blind eye, you know, and covering up stuff that she did. You know, if we were in Pennsylvania, she would be arrested right now. And, I mean, I have no other words to say. I mean, with her husband getting paid $68,000 a year, you know, it's like, just aggravating, because if he only worked part-time, as she says, you know, only did, you know, volunteer work most of the time, why $68,000? Is it because their house was in foreclosure? It's public record. Was that helping to pay off the house so they wouldn't be kicked out in the streets? You know, how good is it to have a role model? A role model for the entire school, for all the students to try to look up to be in foreclosure of their homes. It's like they can't even, you know, have their own finances in order when this is supposed to be a business and finance school. You know, what a great leadership role and role model that she's supposed to be to these kids, saying, oh, well, you know, it's okay, my house is in foreclosure, you know, I can do whatever with my money, you know, and I don't know. It just ticks me off. You know, if we keep the same leaderships in position right now, this school is not going to be at all. And maybe this next year, but I doubt the years after. I really think this school is going to close down if we keep the same leadership.
Okay.
So, that's all I have to say right now.
I have a question for everyone who's here. Dr. Jones, you've been waiting since October, to my understanding. Was this brought to the previous board's attention?
I brought it to the board every single month.
Okay.
Every single month.
That's why I'm asking. I
Let me
understand.
finish, though.
Yes,
I've been promised to hold this one meeting every time I've sent an email about the McAdoo incident with the trash. He's told board members, he said he called him dirty and belonged in the trash can. And then he had another man that wasn't even an employee here to bully my nephew. And Elizabeth, you saw it, you tell the story. You told me.
Yeah, I don't,
So
I don't,
that's-
Wait a minute, excuse me, Judy, let me talk, it may
But
be the
this
last
isn't,
time.
this is not the place to
It is
have
the place to
personal
talk. It
conversations
is the
about
place.
children.
please, I
It is.
have the floor
It's
as
my
a,
nephew, and
I
I got
have
a
the
right
floor
to.
as a public comment.
And you asked me a
Okay,
question, and I gave
and then
you
you're
one.
asking her to answer
Well,
it,
she
and
was
I'd
the
like
one
to
who
direct it
witnessed
at
it.
you first.
But anyway, they bullied
Excuse
my
me.
nephew, let me finish
Excuse
it.
me,
They
excuse me.
bullied my,
This is not the place to have an argument about the exact
I'm not
things
arguing,
that
I'm
happened.
sharing.
We need
Why
to
can't
move
I share?
on with the board
Does my
meeting.
taxpayer dollar mean anything? Am I allowed to
This is
talk?
not the place of a
Well, where is
personal
the place?
conversation.
I've tried to get meeting after meeting after meeting. That's not the place. Where would my place be? You tell me, where's
Follow
this
the
place?
public
proper
Here-
protocol and move up above Ms. Lewis. But the board right now cannot do anything to solve these issues at the
I'm not
meeting.
asking the board, I'm just sharing my concern. And am I not entitled to? Now you're cutting off my first right amendment to speak?
This
Okay,
is public
here-
commentation.
Again, here's why I'm asking, I wanna understand as to how long you have been bringing this
Since
up.
October
Okay.
17th was the first email
That's the
about
only-
taking
that-
about the mask plan.
And that's all I need, I just wanna know when. Ma'am, for your son, how long has this been going on for you, and have you brought it to the attention of the previous board and to this board now?
I haven't brought it because.
You
I
came in
brought it
last
to the
month to bring
principal.
Okay, last month, okay.
Yeah, I came
Okay.
to last month's board, and I did talk to, what's your name?
My name is Mrs. Fraser.
Ms. Frazier, and what was the other lady?
Her name is Mrs. Deladon.
Deladon.
Okay.
And nobody's responded.
And for you, ma'am, to understand, the incident with your brother happened in April. And he was things going on here in school. Did you bring that to the board as well, and to the board now?
I just brought it to the board now,
To the
and
board
we
now,
had the
okay.
meeting when the fate of Bob Lewis with that board meeting. So
Okay,
yes.
and because my understanding of a board is the board helps run the school, so I wanna understand where these things were coming from and how the board can help, just as well as she said.
I wasn't aware that, you were supposed to come to, I wasn't aware.
Well,
The board was supposed to help, I thought the principal of the school
and that,
to
and,
speak to the
and,
teachers to help the child because they're in school.
but again, in public comment, you're coming here and letting us know now, letting the board know now.
Well, if that's
Excuse
the most
me, I
important
spoke 2 or
person.
3 months ago. The board hasn't helped me, and I've been on the board.
Okay.
I haven't heard a word from anybody. They're right here speaking every single month about it.
Yes, sir.
So what is your point? What are you?
I'm just trying to understand, I'm trying to get, you're here today letting us know about it, and letting us know about the leadership and everything else, which I'm happy for because I wanna know. My son is a freshman here, he's going to be a sophomore. You know, I hear the issues every day, and if I can't get through to someone, I would come here just like you.
So if you're going through the same thing, what
Well, I can-
resolution did you have with your son?
I just talked to my son about it. That was it, and we straightened it out.
With your teacher, or
I'm sorry?
are you a teacher?
No, ma'am.
So you didn't have to speak to any of the teachers about your son?
No, me and my son spoke. That was all.
So what would the board do if any of your my
If
comments?
if I had more trouble, I would come to the board like you are today, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to understand. That you're here today, bringing it to their
I
attention.
understand, but what if the board?
What he's saying
Well,
is
that's
the
what I'm
school
saying.
is governed by the board.
As a new board, as the new board members sit, things will change. Or at least we're hoping things will change. That's
Well, I've been on one before, and they haven't, from past experience, so good luck. You know more than I do, and I've been on it a year.
Excuse me. Oh, excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
I think, you said, who has been here before? I've been here before. Last year, couple board meetings this year, about the, disrespect that I've noticed around the school and what my daughter has been coming home telling me about other children. She's not one that's disrespectful, but, getting information constantly about how the teachers are not in control of the classroom so that a bright kid can't learn. I talked to other parents about that issue. We formed a parent advisory council last year, so we tried to address it. So the same problems with the leadership is going on last year.
Okay.
And I did come to the board a couple times last year and at least once this year, and told them, especially about the Chinese teacher, where my daughter said that nobody was
Anybody else? All right, well, we need to move on to, the election of the last few board members and appointment of board of director officers. We had 3 people who